Hi students, welcome back. Let's continue with our subject operating system. In the previous video, I explained about what exactly the CPU scheduling is. So still if you're having any doubt on CPU scheduling, please go and watch the previous video. Now coming to the next topic, here is the scheduling criteria. So before starting all the scheduling techniques, I want to give a clarity on the concept, the formulas. Okay, the concept, first try to understand the concept, then you can easily remember how to solve the problems. The main thing here is in the academic point of view as well as in the competitive exams, gate exams. So the main thing here is the students has to understand the concept. If you understand the concept, you can easily solve the problems. In the CPU scheduling, you are having so many problems. You have to solve the problems, the scheduling criteria. You need to apply different scheduling criteria. So for that, the basics should be cleared, right? Excuse me. Now let's start with the scheduling criteria. So in the scheduling criteria, I'm going to explain what exactly the response time is, what is CPU utilization, throughput, turnaround time, waiting time, okay, load average time. So these are all the concepts that I'm going to cover in this video. So at the end of this video, you will get a clarity on the concept, right? So first let's have a look on the CPU utilization. The name itself, it is saying that you are utilizing the CPU. Means the process is utilizing the CPU. How much time we are utilizing the CPU? To make out the best use of the CPU and not to waste any CPU cycle. Remember that if you are designing anything, any operating system or trying to work out, we have to plan in a manner that the CPU has to work its best. We are not supposed to waste any CPU cycle. CPU would be working most of the time. Whenever the CPU is working in the most of the time, obviously you will get a good result. Your system will be efficient. So try to utilize the CPU. I'm not saying that you just keep a burden. I'm not saying that you won't keep the burden, but try to utilize the CPU. Even though sometimes what happened, even the process are in the ready queue, okay, the CPU is not able to handle the work. It is in ideal state. Why it is an ideal state? Because some other process is P0 is, it is already in the CPU, but it sends this process to the waiting state. Why it is sent through the waiting state? Because some IO request has to be performed. So until process is not completing, the CPU is not completing P0, it is not able to take another process. So in this case, the CPU remains ideal, okay, and it is not allowing to take other process until it completes its P0 process. So is this a waste of time? That is what I am saying. So don't waste any CPU cycles. Try to use the CPU in best. CPU would be working most of the time. It's better. Okay, so the next concept here is I'm sorry. Okay, so the next is the throughput. Throughput means what? It's a basic meaning. Throughput, it is the total number of process complete per unit time. A total number of process complete per unit time, or you can say total amount of work done in a unit time. So in 1 unit time, how much work it is going to be done, that is how many number of process or completing the work. So in 1 unit time, how many number of process are executing? Process, I'm saying about process. Okay, so in 1 unit of time, how many number of process are completing its execution? So that is a throughput. Or you can say total amount of work done in a unit time. In 1 unit time, how much of work done? Work done means what? How many number of process are executed? So that is a throughput. I hope you understand exact the meaning of the throughput. A throughput is nothing but how much work has completed in 1 unit time. That is it's per unit time. Per unit time, how much of work it is completing. Here, that means here how many number of process are completed its execution. So that is a throughput. Okay. The next one is turnaround time. So turnaround time, it's nothing but it is the amount of time. One second. Yeah, it is the amount of time taken to execute a particular process. See here, students, turnaround time means it is the amount of time. I'm talking about the amount of time. Amount of time taken to execute a particular process. So one particular process, how much time it is taking to execute, or else the interval from time of submission of the process to the time of completion. Suppose at 1 o'clock one process is entered, okay, and at 2 o'clock and that process is completed its execution. So this time interval you call it as a turnaround time. The interval from start of the submission, so at 1 o'clock it started submission and at completed its time, the completion time is 2 o'clock. So in between it's a time interval. That time interval you call it as a turnaround time. So just like a wall clock time. So wall clock time, if suppose I said the time is 1, okay, so 1 to 3. So in the 1 clock 1 to 3, so how many hours the class is there? Suppose the class is from 1 to 3 I said. So how many hours the class is? The class is 2 hours. This is a 2 hours class. So this 2 hours is nothing but the turnaround time. A turnaround time is the interval of the starting of the class to the ending of the class. How much time I had taken the class. That is, I had taken a 2 hours of class. This is called as a turnaround time. Okay, or else you can take this completion time minus submission time, arrival time. Completion time minus arrival time, obviously you will get the turnaround time. Understand? So 3 minus 1, 2. So 2 hours I have taken the class. So here 2 minus 1, 1. The turnaround time here is a 1. So remember students, it's an interval of time from starting of the process submission to the completion of the process. Okay, so the next is a waiting time. So what about the waiting time? Waiting time means I'm waiting. So how much time you have waited? You are waiting for your friend. How much time you have waited? So until your friend is reached to you or until your friend is called to you. Okay. So that is until the CPU is respond, the process has to be wait. That is a waiting time. So the sum of the period spent waiting in the ready queue, amount of time a process has been waiting in the ready queue to acquire, get a control of the CPU. So I need to get a control of the CPU. Until that I need to be wait. So that is the waiting time. Spent of waiting in the ready queue and the amount of time a process has been waiting in the ready queue to acquire, get control over the CPU. So next is the load average. It is the average number of process. I'm talking about the average number of process residing in the ready queue waiting for their turn. They are all residing in a ready queue waiting for their turn to get into the CPU. So that is the load average. And next is the response time. Response. What do you mean by this response? So first of all, I call you. Whenever you respond to me, that's enough. So then I'll try to interact with you. That's it. Okay, that is starting. Whenever you response, that until that the time that I call you and you respond, that is that you call it as response time. So see here, amount of time it takes from when a request was submitted. A request was submitted. I call you. Okay, until the first response is produced. So until first, suppose if I send a message to you, hi. At 3 o'clock, I send a message to you. Okay, you respond to me at 3:15. So here this is the response time is a 15 minutes. It's a response time. So until first response is okay, I don't want the completion of our call. So still we are using to communicate. We are continuing the classes. I don't want that remaining time. Only the first response time when you have respond. So after 15 minutes you respond. So that is the response time. Okay. So don't bother about the completion. Okay, process final response I don't want, just only the first response. The first response. So that request was submitted until the first response, you call it as a response time. So you now you get the clarity on what is what CPU utilization. Okay, And I talk about the throughput. What is exactly the throughput? That is a unit of time, the number of that is number of process are executed. And the turnaround time, that is nothing but the completion time minus arrival time. Okay, the interval of between, that is the turnaround time. Okay, and I talked about the waiting time. So how much time you have waited for the CPU's request. Next is the load average. Load average is nothing but the average number of processes residing in the queue, okay, for the turn to the CPU. And next finally is the response time. Okay, response time is only for the request was submitted until the first response. That's okay. Okay, so these are all the different time related. So just remember the concept I'm saying. So whenever you remember the concept, then you can easily solve the problems. No need to by heart the formulas also. Automatically you will get the concept formula if you know the concept. Okay, so I hope you understand it clearly, students. So the coming to the next is the scheduling of process or work is done to finish the work on time. So here are the some formulas are there with respect to the process. Different times with respect to the process is arrival time. That is what arrival time means. When I arrived to the class, at what time I had arranged the class. That is arrival time. Okay, 3 o'clock is one class, 5 o'clock is another class. So the 3 is the arrival time. So at 3 o'clock I entered into the class. At 5 o'clock I entered into the class. That is arrival time. Time at which the process arrives in a ready queue. That is arrival time. And completion time. When I completed my class, 1 hour, 3 to 4. So the completion time here at 4 o'clock I completed my work. So time at which process completes its execution. That is the completion time. And the burst time. Burst time means time required by a process for CPU execution. So the CPU is executing one process. So how much time this CPU is executing that process, you call it as a burst time. Means that is not in ready queue, that is not in waiting queue, that is not in. So the amount of time that process is spent for the CPU execution, that you call it as a burst time. And turnaround time, that is already I said, the difference between the completion time and arrival time, that is the interval between submission and the completion. So what is that interval I'm talking? So if you want the interval, take the completion time minus arrival time. Okay, so turnaround time is nothing but the completion time minus arrival time. Waiting time. So waiting time is nothing but the time difference between the turnaround time and the burst time. Turnaround time means what? It's an interval, right? And burst time is CPU is executing one process. So if you remove that CPU executing one process, the remaining everything it's a waiting only. Okay, CPU is executing one process. Okay, and the remaining whatever it is there, it's until the CPU is taking that process. This time you call it as a waiting time. Here the process P1 is already in ready queue. Okay, so in the ready queue, the P1 is taken by the CPU. Whenever it starts its execution is a burst time. Just remove that burst time. Then the remaining everything, it's a waiting time only. So still if you face any confusion in this waiting time, don't get worried. When we work on the problems, you will get a clarity on the concept, right? So this is what about the different scheduling criteria. I hope you understand it, students. Still if you're facing any problem, please let me know. Okay. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and share my channel for more updates. Thank you.